Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
His daddy had an interest in culling populations, and eugenics was the science of the time. His baby swoons were made of silver, and his path was paved in gold. Then he was hit in the face with a pie. Some think he's a sentinel, others say he's a stooge. I think he's a criminal, and we should fit him for the prison blues. He went from innocent to evil, changed his name from Bill to kill a supervillain with the money and the time. If he don't get you with the needle, he'll be dumping them mosquitoes, sending pharma poison right into your veins. You can catch him watching tennis, eating hot dogs and pretending he's a gentle, caring, loving kind of guy. Behind the 4 eyes and a sweater is an evil little man who wants to make it so the sun don't shine.
Jeff and Apples walk the street, talking about the sky so neat. Weather weapons causing storms, globalists with secret forms. Jeff and Apples, what a pair. Whisper plots while breathing air. Apocalypse is on its way, but they still find time to play. But they still find time to play. But they still find time to play.
How you doing today, Apples? I'm pretty good. Getting the hang of this. What we gonna do? Go for a walk? Talk about kill Gates, mass genocide. You got it, Apples. Yeah, I think we're getting a little too predictable, Apples. It's the same old thing every time. Every time I wonder, should I stop even talking about this? Because it's all so stupid. And everyone's so stupid. And they never get it. But then I go, but it's also funny. So let's talk about it, see what happens. I gotta get right into it. I'm trying to keep these under feature length, film length, under 2 hours if I can. But it's hard. It's seriously hard. There's so many things going on. This apocalypse. I really miss the old days. Back when we started the Dollar Vigilante, 2010, there'd be like one thing every few months that maybe would be worthy of talking about. Now there's like 30 a day, and I just have to kind of pick which ones are kind of the most important. I see, what are we at, a month into the Epstein files not being released after they said they were released? Just as I left, I saw Donald Trump just announced that they're going to announce tomorrow who killed JFK.
We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this, and I've instructed my people that are responsible, lots of different people, put together by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's going to be released tomorrow.
Yeah, and it'll be all lies again. No one ever gets it. I actually saw Paul Joseph Watson saying just recently that, oh look, the FBI and the CIA just announced the whole COVID thing was a virus created in a lab in Wuhan. It's like, oh my God, are you serious? Are you serious? They kind of get it, and they're like, hey, the media's all lying to us, the government's all lying to us. And then the media and government say something, and they're like, ah, that's what it was. It's never what they say it was, just so you know. It just isn't. It's just how it goes. Let's get into this. There's so much going on. So, in the land of the free, you know, place where they have freedom of speech, they've begun the deportations of people who say things they don't like. The land of the free arrests second student over Columbia University pro-Palestinian activism. And you see how this works yet? So, they say they're for freedom of speech, but not against or when you say certain things. Just so you know, that's not freedom of speech. It's just not. Or they'll say some people are terrorists and those are bad, but the other people aren't terrorists when they're the actual terrorists, like Israel. And speaking of that, pro-Israel group says it has deportation list and has sent thousands of names to Trump officials. So if you speak out against the incredibly heinous genocide and massive world takeover that Israel is basically doing right now, you're gonna get deported or put in jail. And of course, if you're pro-Israel, then basically you're probably in the US government, because everyone there is now. It's just amazing. Well, let's go. We got Wolf in the Situation Room. What's going on, Wolf? Yes, Jeff. Just in, Mossad agent Ben Shapiro speaks out against censorship on university campuses.
So let me suggest that as a legislature, your chief job is to ensure that my taxpayer dollars in this state go toward making sure that people like me and people with whom I disagree get to speak in places like college campuses, and not toward regulating what speech you find good and what speech you find bad, because it's a really dangerous business, and there's speech I don't like, there's speech you don't like, but if we can't agree that there is a difference between speech and violence, we're not going to be able to have a free state, let alone a free country. Thanks.
No, Ben Shapiro was against it when it was with one of the things he doesn't like. But he's for it when it's for one of the things he likes. See, that's not freedom of speech. Nothing about any of this stuff's freedom related. It's all about the same old stuff over and over, and people can't even see it. And I've actually said many times about how Donald Trump, there's evidence he converted to Judaism, which is Molochism really, in the way that they do it, when he was the president the last time, which everyone forgot about. I don't think anyone who's like so excited about Trump right now remembers he used to be the president. Because if they did, they'd go, hey, he didn't do anything last time. What are the odds that he's gonna do anything real this time, or anything good? I'll tell you what the odds are. Zero. And I've also kind of just pointed out, it seems like everyone in his family's Jewish. His kids are Jewish. He keeps going to every Jewish thing you can imagine.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
But there's even way more than that. Donald Trump's father was so dedicated to Israel causes, people thought he was Jewish. That's interesting. Trump's brother rebelled against their authoritarian father by joining a Jewish frat. What a rebellion that was. Oh man, it's all so obvious. But no one can see it. They're all just like, yeah, but the Jews are Israel. It's our greatest ally. You know, the Israel that actually bombed and sank a U.S. ship.
Dude, I'm concerned with having American aircraft carriers over there. Like, what I keep being told about the USS Liberty. That's something with the Israeli government.
No, you should.
No. Wait.
You should be careful about that.
Allegedly, the Israeli Air Force jet fighter aircraft.
I mean, they did end up paying out the American government.
So I'm concerned, like false flag operation, like a missile comes out of Gaza and hits one of our aircraft carriers, but it was actually an Israeli missile. Well, I don't want. We should get out of there.
It doesn't. Well, let me stop you there. It doesn't matter where the missile comes from.
That's weird, huh? Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's just incredible. Now Donald Trump is saying that a bunch of Biden stuff shouldn't be allowed because he didn't sign it personally. It was signed with an auto pen, and he didn't even know about it, which is quite interesting and obviously true because he didn't know about anything. He can't know about anything. He's got the Alzheimer's, too bad. But a lot of people are like, well, now Trump's in charge, so, you know, and he's like the guy who makes all the decisions. Now no one can control him because he's a billionaire. Yeah, really? Well, I've been saying this for a while. He doesn't control anything. I mean, nothing. He might make some phone calls. He might talk to some people. Do you think he makes any actual decisions? No. This is like clear. If you don't get this in, I don't know what to tell you. You're just too. You must be bathing in fluoride. You must be showering in fluoride every day, which most people are. So it makes sense, but High Impact Flicks, though, found some interesting clips where Donald Trump says, first of all, that no one is more powerful than the president. Of course, the president decides all these things and all that. And then soon after, he basically says the exact opposite.
In my last conversation with President Trump in the White House, he called me a lot. And this is after January 6th, so it's 2 weeks before, or a week before he's leaving office. He wanted to run past me the names of people he was going to pardon and sentences he was going to commute. He wanted my opinion on them. Some of them I knew.
And remember, he's recounting this conversation in 2025, 4 years after 2021, January 26, 2021.
I said, how you doing? He said, not too well. And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept. What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, you promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination. He said to me, Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either. And I said, who's they and what did they show you? And then he said, Judge, someday when we're on the phone, and then he raised his voice, and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call, back to a normal voice, I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
This is such BS. Who is they? And how could they be so powerful that they keep a president who made a promise from fulfilling his promise? What is he scared of? And we're going to segue here in a second to the disturbing thing that Woodrow Wilson said back in 1913, which ties into something that the father of propaganda, the father of public relations, Edward Bernays, said in his book Propaganda. But let's keep listening.
I mean, this makes it sound even worse. Who are they? Probably somebody in the intelligence community. What did they show him? JFK's brains blown out?
That's a dumb thing to say because apparently we've already seen from the Zapruder film JFK's brains already being blown out. So that's a weird thing. What did they show him? Oh, they showed him that there's an unseen force, an unseen, the real government entity who's really at work, who really has their hands on the levers of power. They showed us, well, first of all, that they exist and the power that they have to actually wield so they can shut a president's mouth and keep him from fulfilling his promise. That's how powerful these entities are.
This is it. You know, it was said by one person that after the Kennedy assassination, there has been no president. They have only been factotums of the system since then.
Which means Trump is a totem or a figurehead of the system. He's only representing the powers who actually shouldn't be, to the point where they're shutting a president up. Now, here is Donald Trump on the PBD podcast on October 17th, 2024. Right before, a couple weeks before the election. Check out what Patrick Bet-David asks him and check out how Trump responds.
But I got it mostly right. Great trade people. I had great trade.
That's not the question I'm asking, if I may. Here's what I'm asking. What I'm asking, I'm not even asking about, hey, why would you hire these guys, the swamp? Yeah. And that question's already been addressed. I'm not interested in that question. The question I'm asking is, you're in a new space. Who were really the powerful people? Was it the director of CIA? Was it FBI? Was it the big pharma? Was it military-industrial complex guys that are General Dynamics? Who were the people that are like, oh, I got you. You have, I never thought you had power. Who actually has
power? The
power?
most powerful person by far, the president.
Okay, now let's stop there. Who really has the power? Is it the CIA? Is it the FBI? Is it the military-industrial complex? Is it Boston Dynamics? Who's really calling the shots? And at first, Donald Trump says it's the president. Is it really?
The president. Power over everybody. Power. The power is enormous.
Most people don't believe that.
It is. But there is a sort of a deep state. And a lot of that's people that have been there. And then there's some bad guys. There's some bad people. Then there's a radical left, which I think are more dangerous in many ways than the other countries. I really do. You know, guys like Shifty Adam Schiff and other people. They're bad people. They're sort of sick people. Not stupid people either, by the way. Smart people.
Sure.
But they're vicious, but they're very bad for our
Is
country.
Adam Schiff powerful?
Can you imagine? Well, he made up the Russia hoax.
No,
He
but
and Hillary.
what I'm saying is, who is their boss? Who calls them and say, you better or else?
I think it's an amorphous group. It's a group. It's not one person. It's an amorphous group of lunatics. And
what a diversion. First of all, he says, no, the president is the most powerful. But then, of course, you do have the deep state.
All the comedians knew it. George Carlin knew it.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Bill Hicks knew it.
When you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar, roll the film. And it's a shot of a Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up and the lights come up and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is.
That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. I know a lot of people think they have some sort of control through voting, or even like some people, like even in that Judge Napolitano, who's an anarcho-capitalist, so I give him some respect. But he's also on Fox News, so I also take him down a lot in respect. Seems to think that he can just call Trump, or Trump calls him, and then Trump makes a decision. But Napolitano even said in that that's not actually the case. But even all that might just be a show. There's levels and levels to this show. This is a giant slave tax farm. And hardly anyone gets it. It's just like the Jones Plantation. You really should see the Jones Plantation. But anyway, we should get back to the most important topic of the day, and that, of course, is the public health emergency, as declared by RFK Jr. of anti-Semitism. Yeah, you're going to notice, like most things I'm going to talk about in this video, all include Jews. It's all about Jew stuff. And then people will be like, Jeff, why are you talking so much about the Jews? Every single thing that's going on is related to them. That's why. And they call themselves Jews. I call them that, even though they're not even that. They're basically part of a satanic death cult. I know. And a lot of people are going to turn this off. And I know why.
You can't handle the truth.
But even all the transgender stuff that's been pushed in our faces so much for the last 5 years, that all came basically from the Jews. And you might say, Jeff, come on. You say everything's caused by the Jews. It's not me.
And there's been a rise in anti-Semitism all over the country right now, and it's disgusting and it's horrible. People should know that one of the first things that the Nazis did, and I think it was in 1933, was they burned Magnus Hirschfeld's gender for sexuality. Magnus Hirschfeld was studying trans people, LGBTQ people. Lily Elby, who the Danish Girl, the film The Danish Girl was about, she had her first gender-affirming procedure at Magnus Hirschfeld's clinic. The Nazis burned it down.
See, you're just anti-Semitic if you don't like transgender people too much. It's incredible. And meanwhile, I'm running out of atotosos. Like I ran out a long time ago. I've got still a few left. I saved a couple up and I'm gonna need them. I'm gonna need thousands more. But remember when, 2 months ago, Donald Trump said all the time how he was gonna end all the wars. Well, U.S. says airstrikes against Houthis in Yemen will continue indefinitely. Yeah, but Jeff, you know, the Houthis are kind of against Israel. So, of course, the U.S. has to go and bomb Yemen now. Meanwhile, Israel's bombing Lebanon, it's bombing Syria. Like the stuff they're doing in Syria is complete sickness. And of course, they're doing it in their usual sneaky way of saying it's all these Muslims that are killing Christians and stuff, but all these Muslims are basically backed by Israel. They're basically a Mossad operation and doing some of the sickest things you've ever seen. It never really ends with these people. But yes, all the war stuff, Even the Ukraine war hasn't stopped yet, even though they kind of announced that it's going to, and then it didn't, and all the usual stuff that they do. And the only thing Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who's changed his name 3 times in his life, by the way. A lot of these people have Benjamin Netanyahu. That's not his real name. Most of these people don't use their real names. They're basically just actors for a satanic death cult. But it's true. But remember when Trump and J.D. Vance were all like yelling at cocaine comedian man, who actually played, when he was an actor, that he became the Ukrainian president. 10 years later, he was the Ukrainian president. Like, predictive programming much? Like, it's getting too obvious now, but no one seems to notice, and no one seems to care, so it doesn't matter. But the only thing they said, they didn't say, hey, where's the hundreds of billions of dollars that's been money laundered to every politician in the US, to everyone in Israel, to the military-industrial complex, all these sort of things. No, they didn't bring it up at all because they're part of it. What they did say was, you didn't say thank you. And then it was reported in the news that he didn't say thank you, or he did say thank you 33 times. And meanwhile, they just keep adding to more wars. They keep sending more bombs to Israel. After Trump said no more wars. And what did I say?
Not the kind of person to say I told us so, but you know what? I told us so. I fucking told us so.
So there's no Epstein files or anything like that. They haven't done any of the stuff that they talked about. Yeah, the big topic of conversation is none of the things that they said they were going to do. But now the biggest thing is protecting Elon Musk car dealerships. And of course, they got all the Soros people out there who are completely, you can tell this is all staged. And they're all smashing cars and stuff. Now you got FBI Director Pam Blondy, who's like, this is our #1 priority to protect Tesla dealerships. And it's all BS. But all of this is happening because they decided to do a giant, and I mean giant, commercial for Elon. Just so you know, Tesla stock is down, I don't know, about 50% from its peak. And, Elon's there in the White House, so he's like, hey, can we all do a giant commercial for my electric cars? And they've all been doing it.
What's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S Plaid.
Which is that one?
That red one in the middle.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds. So faster than a Ferrari.
That's pretty fast. This is beautiful. Whoa! Should I get in?
Get in!
Okay.
Have you ever sat
Let me get in a
wheel
second.
on one of these? Of a Tesla?
Do you want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not Biden. I don't need notes.
I'll take along. I can take that.
Thank you. Let me get into this second. I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would really be wild.
Beautiful. Wow.
I can get into this other side.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow. Let's go see the Cybertruck. I did buy one of these. So.
This is bulletproof.
I mean, look, in terms of imagination, I think I have a great imagination. Who else but this guy would design this, and everybody on the road is looking at it? It's amazing, actually. As soon as I saw it, I said, that is the coolest design.
And here's the funny thing. Here's Trump before he knew he was going to be working side by side with Elon Musk.
We have, and it's what people want to drive right now. And there's a little story about it, but you're going to see it a lot, I guarantee you. They have so many electric vehicles, nobody wants to buy them. Here's the problem with an electric car. They don't go far, very simple. Somebody would say, I wish I could make it more complex. Like, here's the problem. They don't go far. They cost a fortune.
And here's Trump now.
And I'm just saying, beyond the cars, they're great. But we have to celebrate somebody that has the courage to do this. He could have said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get involved. Let the country go to hell. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. It's a fantastic car. And just like that, Tesla stock soars 15%. See how that works? Let me talk to my manager and see what I can do for you. It's Brokeback Mountain. I love how they flip everything. Basically, with the green stuff and the left stuff, they all loved the electric car stuff. Even though it makes no sense, it's not better for the environment or anything. In fact, it's like far worse in so many ways, but that doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter, logic doesn't matter. All that matters is virtue signaling. So people just love to virtue signal. And so many of these left type people all bought Tesla stuff. And now Elon's in the Masonic White House with Donald Trump every day. And now Donald Trump's promoting the Tesla. And you gotta love it. So all these left people, there's been a whole bunch of them. They're all like actually destroying their own cars, which makes no sense. See, they don't understand economics. They're like, this will get Elon. I'm going to destroy something that I already paid him for.
Armed with a pickaxe and sledgehammer in Seattle's Soto neighborhood, these two fellas went to town on this Tesla. The car was left in shambles with shattered windows, massive punctures, and tons of anti-Elon Musk graffiti.
We don't like what Elon Musk is doing.
This man would only give me his first name.
Right.
Police taped bullet holes and shattered glass. Crews spent the day cleaning up the Tesla dealership after investigators say someone shot it up overnight Thursday, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damage.
When employees showed up to work this morning, that's when they discovered the damage.
Tigard police say someone fired at least 7 shots, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows.
And then you had all the right side people who were all against all this environmental stuff, quite smartly, and they hated electric vehicles. But not now, because now they got everyone. They got Joe Rogan. This all happened the last few days. Joe Rogan in a Tesla.
It's awesome. God, let a Tesla make like this thing again. I love the heat. It looks so much better than the standard car. Just the wider fenders and the tires and wheels. Wow. This is great.
Now you get all these goofy congressmen. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You know, looking at it in that photo, it looks like a 1997 Nissan. Like there's nothing cool about it. It looks about as plain as can be, but of course they're all getting top-down orders, got to get out there and promote the Tesla. So now you have all the right-wing people all wanting to get electric. You can't make this stuff up. They're so easy. They're so easy to play with them. And no one gets that they're being played. They all just think this is all just, well, that's just what happened. They're playing with everybody. Just a massive, massive. And what did we see before that? We saw Kill Gates with his massive mass murder with a massive bioweapon. He got every government, every media on earth to do giant advertisements for it for like 4 years straight. And then everyone injected themselves with poison. And now they're doing all these ads for Elon's Tesla. And all the right-wing people love it now. And the whole goal of it, by the way, well, one of the things that will happen is if any of them ever say anything anti-Semitic, their Cybertruck will just drive them right to the camps. Here's from Just a Thought. They're trying to sell you electric cars with massive computer systems in them so they can track and limit your movement. Not because Elon Musk needs your money. You know that, right? All these electric cars are basically 1984 on steroids. They listen to everything you say. They know everything about what you do, everywhere you go. You're sitting on top of a giant bomb that they can detonate with like hundreds of pounds of lithium batteries that you're sitting on top of, which is also massively irradiating you. And if they want to, just like they did with that Las Vegas shooter, the guy who blew up fireworks in a Tesla truck, and that also turned into a giant ad for Tesla. There's a lot of evidence that he was driven there against his will, locked into his Cybertruck. And now a lot of the right people are all like, I'm gonna get one. Because look, my heroes do these things. They're doing something. And all of them, by the way, all of them are all friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's Elon Musk with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's Donald Trump with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's the new Canadian Prime Minister with Ghislaine Maxwell. Meanwhile, there's no Epstein files. And both Epstein and Ghislaine's dad was a very high-level Mossad agent.
Ghislaine Maxwell's father was a Mossad spy who named his empire Pergamon Press, which was a publishing company that often released medical journals and scientific research. If we analyze old religious scriptures, in them the term Pergamon is named as Satan's throne. The altar of Pergamon is where human sacrifices would take place for many gods including Baal, Moloch, and Zeus. Her father also purchased the McGraw-Hill textbooks in 1989, which is still used in North America today to teach our students. So this Mossad agent was controlling school education, medical journals, and scientific books, all under a company named after Satan's throne.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence that he named his company after Satan's throne. No, it's not, because all these people are basically in a satanic death cult. And still to this day, hardly anyone on earth knows that. And if anyone talks about it, I get banned everywhere. I get shadow banned. And if people see what I'm talking about, they just laugh. They go, the world's not controlled by a satanic. Yes, it is. It's obvious. Like, I'm not even halfway done this video. There's still way more to talk about. Like, for example, the Doge. The Doge is the only thing that any of these Trump people can kind of go, hey, that's one thing he said he was going to do. And they're right. He has gone in and they've tried to find a bunch of waste, which is super easy to do with the US government. And they say they're clearing it up. And here's something interesting, though. The total amount the U.S. government spent in last month, in Trump's first full year after they've been doing all this Doge, actually went up. So they're not actually having any savings or anything. They're just sending most of it to Israel. But the thing that most people don't see yet, but they will see soon, is the whole Doge thing is to basically create the technocratic state that Elon Musk's grandfather dreamt about 100 years ago, and Elon is now making basically happen, although it's not even just him. Like, he works for other people too. All these people have bosses. Why do you think Elon has to go to Israel all the time and go look at stupid fake stuff like Auschwitz? Or go look at a crib that they just threw some bullets in and say how sad it is. And they're actually bringing in all the stuff the World Economic Forum wants. But they're doing it slightly differently. They're saying, oh, these are the right side guys. These are the guys who are trying to take down the system. But they're doing all the same things that the World Economic Forum wants. AI Governance Alliance from the World Economic Forum. We are transforming how artificial intelligence shapes our world by governing you. Doge's plans to replace humans with AI are already underway. I know. No one else seems to know, but I know. David Icke knows, though. Exactly. What have I been saying from the start? The cult, the satanic cult, built the system with its agents. It's dismantling the system with its agents, and it's imposing an AI dystopia to replace it with its agents. Yeah, all these people, Javier Milei, Elon Musk, they're all in the satanic death cult. Even Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro knows that.
Me dijeron exactamente lo que hay que hacer con el diablo, con los símbolos diabólicos que maneja Elon Musk. Miren su perfil y los símbolos diabólicos que tiene en su pecho. Son sectas satánicas del poder estadounidense que han articulado sectas como la de Milei, o en Venezuela sectas satánicas como el fascismo que ha atacado al país. Es una lucha de carácter espiritual entre el bien y el mal, entre el odio, la mentira, el engaño, el fascismo, porque ustedes saben todo el ocultismo que hubo detrás de Hitler.
But even Nicolas Maduro is Jewish. And what's communism? Who started that? Karl Marx. Jewish. Yeah, but Jeff, it's just because they're so smart. They're smart, but they're also evil. A lot of them, not all, but a lot. And trying to take over and kill all the goy on earth. And no one can see it. I'm like one of the only people on earth who can see it. And I'm just walking around. I'm actually de-aging. Having a great time, but getting ready for the craziness to come. Got the giant walls all around this place. See some giant wall up there. Getting ready for it, but it's just incredible. And meanwhile, Kill Gates has like been trying to kill people in every single way you can imagine. And don't forget too, who was Kill Gates' dad? Kill Gates' dad was a massive eugenicist, and they were all good friends with people like George Soros, Warren Buffett, all the same people who were all in the same club. And then Kill Gates just magically all of a sudden had one of the biggest computer companies on earth. How'd that happen? Oh, just hard work, Jeff. I'll get into that in a second. Because all these guys are put into place. And Kill's trying to kill everyone. And he was one of the most prolific people going to Epstein's Island. Do you think they're going to ever release that? I don't. I guess we'll see, though. Anything is possible. But here's Belinda talking about the reason that she split up with Kill is because he kept going to rape kids at Epstein's Island.
Melinda French Gates opens up following her and Bill's divorce, and the role Jeffrey Epstein played in their split. The power couple revealed last year that they ended their 27-year marriage.
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
That's Melinda sitting down with CBS Morning's Gayle King on Thursday, her first wide-ranging interview since the split announcement in May.
Divorce is a painful process, even when it's what both parties want. It still is a very painful, personal decision.
It wasn't one moment or one specific thing that happened. There just came a point in time where there was enough there that I realized it just wasn't healthy, and I couldn't trust what we had.
Among those contributing factors, Bill's connection to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The disgraced financier died in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial for sex trafficking charges.
You know, it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein.
It's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him.
Melinda admits she met Epstein and doesn't mince words about her first impression.
I wanted to see who this man was, and I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It was awful.
In a statement to CBS News, Bill calls meeting with Epstein, quote, a mistake that I regret deeply. He adds it was a substantial error in judgment.
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Yeah, so that prolific pedophile also says that he gets to decide whether humans live or not.
You guys seen the clip of Billy, Billy Gates of Hell, Satan's spawn, saying that they'll get to decide whether there's humans or not?
People are like, wow, this is a bit scary. It's completely new territory.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
And people are like, wow, this is a bit scary. That's right, because you're a mass murderer. So, yeah, it's a little scary, Billy.
Yes, he's a man of contagious influence, you could say. 3.4 billion, World Health Organization. Gavi, 3 billion. Johns Hopkins University involved in the COVID scam, pandemic genocide, 870 million. Imperial College, 280. Imperial College is the ones that came up with all the death numbers and how many people are going to die from the COVIDs. Oxford, the Crime and Death Corporation. Then he's got Microsoft, of course, the BBC Media Action. He owns all the media. He's a complete and total psychopath, but he calls himself a philanthropist. And everyone's like, well, he's just very charitable. It's quite the opposite of that. He wants to inject all your little kids in the arm, straight into the vein.
Is there something to worry about with medicines? That is, might some of them have side effects? Do we need safety testing? I mean, and we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Vaccines are so important. We'll have new vaccines. We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Just shoot them right into the vein. The misinformation about vaccines and associating certain people like myself or Fauci having malign intent with vaccines, that was most acute in the United States. There's no doubt in the next 5 years, we can, we just need to mess around. We just need to mess around. We just need to mess around. There are a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembling. We'll have a TB vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV vaccine, HIV vaccine. Vaccines are so important. Yeah, I'd probably have one of the highest greenhouse gas footprints of anyone on the planet.
It's pretty rare to see good news, but here's one. Here's Kill Gates Beyond Meat. Someone screenshotted this, I didn't, but they screenshotted it right at $3.33. It's down 95.44% in the last 5 years. Well, that's good. And I brought it up many times. The Deagle forecast for the population by the end of this year, 2025, the US, about 80% of the population will be dead by the end of this year. And it totally could happen. It totally could. And then you look and you look up how many people in the US actually took the lethal injection, and it's incredible. It's about exactly the same amount. About 80% of people in the US, I can't believe it myself. I don't know anyone who took it, but we're all smart. As soon as it came out, we're all like, well, we know what this is, but we don't watch television programming. And but 80% of people in the US took it, and that's about the amount that Deagle says the population is going to reduce this year. We'll see if that happens this year or not. I wouldn't be surprised, but if it does happen, you probably will never hear from me again, because everything will change massively at that point. Here's something interesting. COVID shots installed nanobots. New Japanese study proves Pfizer and Moderna vaccines cause unauthorized animated worm-like entities invisible to the human eye, which swim, wiggle, and assemble themselves into complex structures which cause clots inside the body. Lee and Browdy saw that when the nanotechnology was energized, it created discs, chains, spirals, tubes, and right-angle structures. The researchers who published their findings in the International Journal of Vaccine Theory, Practice, and Research believe these mysterious nanoparticles are responsible for the explosion of turbocancer and autoimmune disease around the globe. And here's Dr. Anna Mahasea, who's basically the top doctor looking at the nanotech and all these things. Influenza vaccine 2024-2025 dark field microscopy, self-assembled microelectronics with integrated circuits. She says, here I show a dark field microscopic analysis of the current influenza vaccine. The initial microscopy looked rather uneventful. Some microbots that were assembling larger structures. Within about 40 minutes, this elaborate mesh network self-assembled. Many micellar construction zones with material that was self-assembling became visible after about 45 minutes on the slide. The next day, all of the spheres had assembled this technology. All spheres had disappeared. Do you understand what this means? 80% of the people in the US have been installed with an operating system they have no idea about, that basically Kill Gates put there. And all the other people in the cult. And what are they going to do with it? We'll find out, but it will likely respond. A lot of these people have MAC addresses. This has been proven. By the way, if you took a jab, go out into the forest, go away from everything, like somewhere where you can't be anywhere near a Bluetooth device. Go turn on your phone and see if you get a Bluetooth address. If so, that's you. You have a Bluetooth MAC address. Most people do now. Now we have 5G, now we have the Starlink, and what do you think they're gonna do? I don't know, but knowing what I know about them, I'll bet they're gonna try to control everyone like little video game characters and basically just create the craziest world you could ever imagine. With most of the people here, basically being zombies controlled by basically AI. Yeah, That's actually happening. I don't know how anyone, like, why is anyone talking about anything else but this? There's nothing else to talk about unless you want to talk about how to survive it all, and that's doing all the work and the meditation, and then you can create your own reality because none of this is real. But no one's talking about that either. No one talking about anything important. You just go on X and people are like, oh, I'm so angry. Look at what he said. That's stupid. Oh, they're all so dumb. It's painful. But one of the things that we're definitely seeing tons of, and I've personally heard about it with so many people. I've got one friend right now, his wife's just about to die. I found a way to get him a Tesla machine in like 2 days. When I found out she was on her deathbed with turbo cancer, basically. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully well, but it doesn't, like, they say any day now. They pulled her from any machines and everything. She's basically supposed to be gone. Now, if the Tesla saves her, which I would not be surprised, well, that'll be another incredible story, but we'll see. I really hope it does happen. But so many people, I hear from so many people, everyone's getting the turbo cancer now. Well, where's it coming from? Young people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are developing aggressive and rapidly growing turbo cancers. Dr. William Mackus, who had diagnosed 20,000 cancer patients in his career, says, I've never seen anything like this.
There are only a handful out of the 100,000 doctors, Canadian doctors, that didn't take the vaccine that are still practicing medicine. So it's something like 99.9% vaccination rate. And they were the first ones to line up for their vaccines. Well, as I started looking at the sudden deaths of Canadian doctors, I realized, yes, most of them are dying from cardiac issues, heart injuries, cardiac arrests, dying while jogging or swimming, dying in their sleep. And Dr. Peter McCullough has talked about this extensively, about the myocarditis and the damage to the heart, the scarring to the heart. And then some were dying from blood clots, pulmonary emboli, strokes. But then there was quite a large subset of doctors who were developing extremely aggressive cancers. And cancers at an age that they shouldn't be getting. So, for example, there was a doctor who developed gastric cancer in his 30s. Presented at stage 4, he was dead in less than a year. Very rare brain cancers in young individuals in their 20s and 30s, medical students, medical residents. And these cancers would always present at stage 4, and they would always kill them in a matter of a few months, and it was always less than a year. And, at first I didn't know, what the term for this was or what the phenomenon was. I just started, really paying attention to it, tracking it. I then, realized that this is being called turbo cancer by people on social media. Turbo cancer is not a medical term, but it's a term that people came up with to really describe the extremely aggressive nature of these cancers in the COVID vaccinated. And these cancers behave completely differently, unlike anything I've seen before in my career. And I've diagnosed over 20,000 cancer patients in my career with cutting-edge PET CT, positron emission tomography imaging, CT, MRI, pathological correlation. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen stage 4 breast cancers presenting in women in their 20s. I've never seen stage 4 colon cancers presenting in men and women in their, 20s, 30s. Leukemias that will kill you in a matter of days or even hours after diagnosis. Lymphomas that, again, kill you in a matter of months.
New York doctors raise alarm as Medicaid cancer cases skyrocket 250% post-vaccine rollout. Breast cancer bombshell, UK deaths from disease set to rocket by over 40%. As mystery surge in under 50s continues to baffle doctors. They're so baffled all the time. I'm not baffled at all. I know why. But I'm a bitch. And you're not allowed to see anything I say. Somehow, if you're seeing this, you're like one of the few who can see it. I would consider that you're pretty lucky if you can see stuff like this, if you didn't know this information, because I'm like one of the only people telling people. And I'm banned everywhere. And the doctors are all baffled. And the word baffle comes from to keep quiet. So they're actually saying what they are. They're like, we're keeping quiet. Because they're part of the Rockefeller death cult. Now, a lot of these doctors don't even know, because they're that stupid. Most doctors are the stupidest people you've ever seen in your life. They're just good memorizers. They're order follower NPCs, just like cops and stuff. They're just super dumb. So they're just told, hey, no, this doesn't do that. They're like, this doesn't do that. And they're like, keep injecting them with the poison. They're like, I'm going to keep injecting them with the poison. Here's Dr. Pratik Soon Shlong. Is this a joke? His name's Soon Xiong. I thought it was Soon Shlong. On the effects of COVID's lethal injections. For the first time in my career, I've seen an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and 10-year-old with colon cancer.
So this idea of the effectiveness and safety of the vaccines is real science. We need to talk about it. And guess what? Not only are we going to have 2 big crises about the recovery of California over the next decade, but we're going to have to address the rising incidence of cancer. For the first time in my career, I've seen an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old with colon cancer. The first time in my career, I have had a 13-year-old child in our clinic die of metastatic pancreatic cancer. We have to face this effectiveness and face reality.
New study, fatal malignant cardiac tumors following COVID's mRNA lethal injection. Heartbreaking tumors, a case series of malignant pericardial effusion. Safe and effective is not a lie. It's 2 lies. If calling me an anti-vaxxer, if you mean to say that I'm completely against introducing a synthetic carcinogen produced by habitual criminal companies in a satanic death cult that bear no responsibility for harm or fatalities, then you'd be absolutely right. Okay, and now we get to the most interesting part of this video. When I saw the video I'm about to show you, I was shocked. I rarely get shocked. But I had to sit back in my chair. I'm like, oh my God, like, they do it so brazenly and blatantly. So basically what this is, in the movie with Will Smith, who's basically all involved in the satanic death cult and all that kind of stuff, he's in the Illuminati, did the movie I Am Legend, which I've talked about numerous times because it's all about everyone on Earth dying and a guy left alone with his dog, which I thought was pretty apropos for where I think I'm headed. In that movie, the whole plot is that there's a measles virus, first of all, and the measles virus causes cancer, so they come up with a cancer vaccine. And that cancer vaccine, 3 years later, kills everyone on Earth, almost everybody on Earth. That's interesting. Well, here's a recent news propo, a newscast, witchcraft, spellcast, with basically these 2 women could not more look like the women in the actual movie itself. Just watch.
So what is this as big as it sounds?
I think it potentially is. I mean, it's very early days. So basically, they've discovered that if they use the same technology that they use for COVID, and they use some mRNA, which is a messenger part of DNA, they take your particular cancer, they biopsy it, they take some of the protein on your cancer, and they put it back into your cells.
How many people have you treated so far?
Well, we've had 10,009 clinical trials in humans so far.
And how many are cancer-free?
10,009.
So you have actually cured cancer?
Yes, yes. Yes, we have.
Like, those might be actually the same people. One's in a movie from like 20 years ago about how a measles virus causes them to make an anti-cancer vaccine that killed everyone on Earth. And the other one is from like a couple of weeks ago where they're talking about it with the exact same looking people, even wearing like the same dress. The blonde woman's wearing basically the same dress. They look like the exact same people. That, my friends, is predictive programming. And to do it decades ahead of time. And like, this is what I've been saying. This is why a lot of people say to me, Jeff, this can't all be a giant conspiracy, because what level of intelligence and organization would you need to do all these things? And my answer is, I don't know exactly what's doing it, but I know it's happening. And I know who's involved at the human level. Kill Gates, the Jews, Khazarians, the satanic death cult, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, all these people. They're all involved in it. But even they are nowhere near smart enough to do this, and I agree. I think it's basically the Nephilim or the Elohim, and that might be the kind of the same thing. Or Satan.
Satan.
Or this is basically, like I say, a 3D video game, and it's all run by an incredibly evil sort of a architect, just like in The Matrix. Which is interesting too, because if you go back and look at The Matrix, and you go back to what they said about AI in The Matrix, it's pretty mind-blowing.
This isn't real. What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today. Welcome to the desert of the real. What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
And just so you know, everything you put into AI is making it smarter. So there's lots of people out there that are just constantly talking to AI and all that kind of stuff. You're just making it smarter, but they can't see it. They can't see what's going on. No one can. It's incredible. Somehow I can. I don't know how. But it's clearly going on. Like, how can you know what I've just talked about and not see that that's what's going on? Like, you have to be just completely under mind control. Or shower in fluoride, or inject yourself with poison, or they're spraying you with poison right now. They're doing it to almost everybody. Speaking of that, who's doing that? Kill Gates. A Kill Gates venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What could go wrong? So here's a company that actually does put the sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. And someone asked them, how many people consented to you spraying sulfur dioxide into their properties? Make Sunsets, great name, says, so far over 850 people have paid us to do it. It's a small amount, but amounts to over $13,000 a month and growing. We're surprised as much as you are, but they're a pretty smart group of people, including the people who funded SpaceX and Tesla. So I guess we're onto something. Yeah, massive population. Now, who funded SpaceX and Tesla? All the same people, the BlackRock type people and the Rothschilds and all these kind of people. And they're trying to kill you from the air too. Like, I am more than amazed how few people know what's going on or even talk about it. Now, I get it. If you know what's going on, you might not even want to talk about it. I get it. But hardly anyone is. They're all just talking about other stuff. Like, you see the football game last night? It's like they're trying to kill everyone right now. They're spraying you. They're poisoning you. They're going to launch their zombies with their chips soon via the 5G and the Starlink. And people are like, oh, no, that's crazy conspiracy theory. But it's true. It's a crazy conspiracy. That's true. It is a theory because, you can't put exact things on this. But when you connect all the dots, it's 100% true. So what are people doing? Like, why are they not waking up to this? I think it's so big of a thing that your average person just can't even imagine it's real. And because they're not seeing it right now in this second in the place that they live, although if they would open their eyes, they would. They'd notice all the fluoride stairs, they notice all kinds of stuff, but they're not seeing the crazy, crazy stuff yet. So they basically just hope that it's not true. Well, to those people, I would say, you do have another option. You can realize what's going on, and there's tons of ways to protect yourself from it. And I mean tons of them. And I think I get a lot of people who don't like me or who block me and don't ever watch me again, because I think a lot of them took the lethal injection. And, you know, it must be so hard for them to hear. It's like, I'm basically telling them they just killed their whole family. Like, if they understand that and they do it at a subconscious level, you know, they'd have a very hard time watching any of these. So they just turn it off and they drink their beer and they watch their football and they wait to die. Even to those people, I would say, we actually are pretty sure now that there's technology out there to remove all the nanotech and all this stuff out of your body. These are still preliminary studies, but there's a bunch of people looking at it right now, and they're getting more and more closer to, it looks like, if you put plasma, which you can get out of the ether, which most people don't even know about, that Nikola Tesla rediscovered and has been known for like thousands of years before that, it will actually kill all the nanotech in your body and all the other stuff that actually makes you sick from the lethal injections. And we've already seen that to some degree. We've already seen Max Egan cure a young woman who had myocarditis from lethally injected blood in a transfusion, and he cured her myocarditis in a couple weeks. So this machine can actually probably cure you. So there's actually like reasons to hope, even if you've already injected some of this stuff. But you're gonna have to be super smart. And a lot of people will say, yeah, but Jeff, you know, to get one, it's like $11,000. And, you know, that's a lot. But those same people probably have a leased car. They probably have a mortgage. They probably have like a huge amount of expenses they pay each month. It's probably add up to like $1,000 a month or more of stuff that's basically killing them. They could like sell their Honda Civic and get this and have perfect health and never die and possibly live forever. But no, because, but, you know, it's just, you know, don't want to take the chance, you know, that sort of stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. But you actually have the technology to survive everything they're doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm massively de-aging. I know it's crazy, I know. I've de-aged by over 20 years in the last 1 year. I think it's mostly due to the Tesla, although I should say I do a ton of other things. I also do hyperbaric chamber. I also eat good. I also exercise. I also go in a massage chair. I also have a sauna and a steam room. But I'll say one thing. I definitely wasn't de-aging a year ago before I got the Tesla. And once I got the Tesla, I had so much energy that I could do all these other things. And I think the Tesla, in addition, I think the hyperbaric really adds to it, just so you know. So I do the Tesla, I meditate in a Tesla bath for a couple hours, then I get out and I'm full of plasma, and then I go into hyperbaric and I push it deep into my bones and my organs and stuff. I think those are the things that have basically have me massively de-aging. I've de-aged more than 20 years. My energy levels are of a 10-year-old. Like, do you understand? And you can get access to this stuff. And we know it cures almost everything. In fact, we just had the first person who's bought one who has cured someone of stage 4 cancer with it.
Okay, I'm going to tell some more about the Tesla machine. If it's too shaky, put the phone down and just listen to me speak. So I've had to do probably the most stressful time in my life has been when I've had to work so many hours working on a house that just wasn't turning out. So in the most stressful time of my life fixing things up on this property and trying to just get it sold, I was working, and while having the Tesla machine, I had to work a lot. Like sometimes I only got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and normally my whole life, my wife, anyone, let's say it happens commonly. If you don't get enough sleep, you get sick. So I realized that I could basically push my body to the limits and not get sick. So I'm like, whoa, no, I usually always get sick during the winter time, and it did not happen this winter. I did not get sick, and I didn't get tired or fatigued where I had to. After 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I was still able to work and be strong and not tired. So that's worth it to me to keep going and say, hey, I have to do a lot of hours, and anyway, I'm very happy for that. Next, I'm going to tell you about one of the the most exciting story I have, or one of the most exciting ones, is my sister used it on a lady for about a week or so who had cancer. And first these are her symptoms. She, after having, I think she had it since, I have the video of it, I just have bad audio on it, of her doing an interview with her. So first off, she couldn't walk, really. She had to have someone help her up the stairs into my sister's house. So walking, she also had numbness in her hands and legs from the chemotherapy that she was on. And because it was ovarian cancer, she was also bleeding. She had to have 3 blood transfusions. So I guess that's the number 3. And then she was just tired. That must be 4. Anyway, we can go over more of it, but after using the machine for a few days, she was able to run up the stairs, where before that wasn't allowed. She wasn't able to do any of that. And she stopped bleeding. And the numbness, even after the first day, the numbness in her arms and legs went away. I know there's a word for that. I don't know. But she had extreme problems. And then, to top it all off and go fast through it all, because you guys are, we want to get you the facts as fast as we can. The next thing happened is that she had, was scheduled to have her ovaries removed, have a surgery. And so this is about a month after she had used the machine. She said she went in to have it, cancer cut out, and they could not find cancer. And so they canceled the surgery of course, I think the doctor said, well, it's in here somewhere, and I mean, I can do other tests to find it, but she did not. Her levels went from whatever testing they do. They have a test where normal people are, is about a 35, and hers was at like 4,700, which is how they knew she had stage 4 ovarian cancer. And after doing chemo, which brought the numbers down, and after things, by the time they were going to pull her ovaries out, a month after using the machine, she had a 50 on her cancer score. So extreme that she got such a result so fast. And I think anyone that doesn't want to get chopped up or go through surgery should try the machine long before they get that doctor chopping on them. So a lot less intrusive. So that is the story about her. And she used it again a couple weeks ago, and she said that she gave some unique numbers saying that normally she doesn't sleep through the night very well, and that she only gets a half an hour. Her phone shows her that she gets a half an hour of REM sleep. She was able to get an hour of REM sleep and sleep all the way through the night. So it's really helped her sleep and recover. So of course, she doesn't just use the Tesla machine. She also tries to eat no sugars and do chemo, which is so good for, just joking. Chemo is, I don't think I would never use chemo. So, okay, well, that is some of the stories I have. And if I think of any more, I will share those with you. And thank you for listening. Talk to you later.
By the way, there's dozens and dozens of basically testimonials like that. They're not even up on Tesla's website. They're planning on putting a lot of them up. They don't have any of them up. They're too busy building the machines and shipping them out as fast as they can to help people. But there's so many things like that. They've cured someone with MS. They cured a person of myocarditis. Max Egan cured a person of Bell's palsy. It goes on and on and on. I cured a woman who was on her deathbed from lethal injections, couldn't walk, couldn't talk. One day after doing it, she was walking and back to almost normal. Like, this is miraculous technology. You're kind of insane if you don't get one. And do almost anything you can to get one. I'm not telling you that to sell you on it or anything. I'm telling you, if you said to me, Jeff, you can keep one thing, one material item for the apocalypse, I wouldn't even hesitate. I'd be like, Tesla machine. It keeps me in perfect health. I'm de-aging. It cures everything. It cures trauma. It cures everything. There's nothing else I'd even really want or need. So, you know, if you have to get like 4 friends together and then you all just share it, you only probably use it half an hour to an hour a day anyway. Do whatever you can to get one if you can. I'm just telling you. And once you get it, you'll see. Almost everyone in the Tesla group's like that. They're like, I just got it 3 days ago. I can't believe it. It's like, I just cured most of my stuff. It's like, yep. And now they'll be de-aging if they just keep using it. Anyway, you can get a Tesla.club. Let's get back into all the Ghislaine Maxwell's friends. Ghislaine Maxwell's buddy, Mark Carney, just got sworn in as the Prime Minister of Canada.
I, Mark Carney, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors. I, Mark, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to His Majesty, King Charles III, as a member of His Majesty's Privy Council for Canada.
Yeah, he's just pledging his allegiance to King Sausage Fingers. You can't make this stuff up. Like, how do people look at this and go, I guess he's our ruler now. I guess we got to pay all our money to him. They're that stupid. They're kind of like these sheep. Although that's actually making the sheep, that's not kind to the sheep. These sheep are so much smarter than any taxpayer out there. They're like, we don't care. You can kill us, but we're not going to do all these things. You can put us in a cage, which, you know, we have, but we want to actually get them out. And I'm sorry about that, sheep. We're trying to figure this out. Oh, there's the babies. They're growing up real fast. Oh, they're so cute. He's doubled in size. It's amazing how quickly they grow. And on nothing. They barely eat anything. You know, chickens can make 1 egg a day, and that egg turns into a chicken. They're basically creating another chicken every single day, and all they eat is a few little seeds and drink some water. It's like, it's incredible. It's incredible what nature has designed. Oh, one of the goats going crazy back there. Anyway, what was it? Oh, Mark Carney. Yeah, so now Mark Carney's the Prime Minister. Everyone in Canada's like, who? It's like, it's the guy who used to be the Bank of Canada guy and the Bank of England guy, and you know, he's Ghislaine Maxwell's friend. That's all you need to know. And he came in, and the carbon tax has like destroyed Canada so much. Like, it's basically close to getting like Cuba now. It's like no one can afford to live in Canada anymore. So they had to do something. So the new guy comes in, he's like, I'm gonna stop the carbon tax. Yeah, here's Castro. 6 years ago, Canada passed a carbon tax that will give most Canadians more money. Yesterday, Mark Carney canceled the carbon tax. Yeah, they've spent the last 6 years telling Canadian slaves that the carbon tax that they have to pay actually saves them money. They get a refund and a rebate and all this kind of stuff. It's all BS. But that's what they've been saying for 6 years. And they're like, hey, it's a good thing. You're going to save money with this. And now they're like, well, we're going to have to cancel it because no one can even afford to drive anymore. And so we got to do something to keep you guys enslaved and not revolting. Meanwhile, I'll take things that are weird for 800, Alex. Margaret Trudeau remarried and had 2 kids with Fried Kemper. Fried Kemper is the brother of Mark Carney's mother, Verley Kemper. Mark Carney is the godfather of one of Chrystia Freeland's kids. This is some kind of weird cult we have here running the show in Canada. It's the same old cult. Meanwhile, they put in Chrystia Freeland as the transport minister. I don't know if you've seen her recently. Like, I don't know what exactly she's got, but just watch. You tell me what she's got.
Minister Freeland discussed or mentioned the shared priorities that the 2 governments have. I'm wondering, would you describe a carbon tax exemption on natural gas for Manitoba as one of your priorities?
I think our priority today is to share the news with Manitobans that your federal government, your provincial government are working together to put people to work. I think Manitobans in every region want to see the people that they send to elected office work together to improve things like healthcare, like making life more affordable, like tackling the humanitarian crisis that is homelessness. And that is no longer just confined to downtown Winnipeg, but actually permeates the entirety of our province. And so you will know from the recent election that our top priority is always healthcare and making life more affordable. And I think that the other big thing that we've articulated over our recent campaign and time in office is that the economic horse pulls the social cart. And I think where the priorities align for the government of Canada and the government of Manitoba is that, yes, the economic horse pulls the social cart, but a clean, safe, healthy environment is the path on which that economic horse walks.
She was supposed to be the Prime Minister, by the way. I don't know, satanic, demonic possession, I don't know. But now she's in charge of transport. You know, that's someone you can really trust to be in charge of transport. Meanwhile, in Germany, they've destroyed Germany so much. They destroyed most of the West already. And it's so sad, because it was actually way better. It was pretty cool, especially the German people. They were amazing. But they've destroyed them over the last century, basically. Now if you go to Germany, you don't even see a German flag anywhere. What you do see is an Israeli flag, a gay flag, and a Ukrainian flag. Meanwhile, the Ukraine war continues on. And what have I been saying about this since the beginning? It's all set up, basically, to kill all the people in that region on behalf of the Khazarians, who are from that region. They want it back. But your average person has no clue about this stuff.
Back when the so-called war between Russia and Ukraine started, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, told the Ukrainians to stay in the country and to fight till death. That alone was already pretty strange. Recently, the president of Russia, Putin, tried to mobilize 300,000 Russians to go to Ukraine and to fight till death. Officially, it's Russians fighting against Ukrainians, but in reality, it's Russians fighting against Russians. Because Ukrainians are Russians, you can't differentiate between them. They look the same because they are literally, genetically, the same people. A real Russian invasion would have lasted a week, but this is dragging on for months. And all that's happening is that more and more Russian people are dying. This war doesn't make any sense at all until you find out that Zelensky is part of the Jewish cult called Chabad Lubavitch, and guess who else is part of it? Putin. Now, why would two leaders who are part of the same cult fight against each other? Both of the countries have been occupied by foreign entities, and their only goal is to kill as many Russians as possible. What is this war really about? White genocide.
Ukraine seems to be all about, it's called payback time. Ukrainians have been killing Jews for 400 years. Ever since Khmelnytsky in 1648 wiped out 1/3 of European Jewry. And they have been doing a great job killing Jews. In fact, in World War II, they were more vicious than the Nazis. In fact, the Nazis had to say, you know, we like the fact you're killing Jews. Let's show you how to be more efficient. So what's interesting is before the end of time, the Brainchip says, well, Ukraine has been especially active in killing Jews. So what I'm going to do is destroy them.
Yeah, Zelensky says he wants Ukraine to become a bigger Israel. And here's Israel 2.0 in Ukraine by 2029, openly campaigned by Ukrainian billionaire politician since 2014, funded by Soros. Do you get it yet? Has Trump ever brought any of this up? They're basically killing all the white Ukrainians. They're actually all Russians anyway. That's the crazy thing. There is no real Ukraine. Ukraine means borderland. For most of history, that was not a country. It was looked at as a borderland of Russia. Most people there are actually Russian. Most of them speak Russian. And they basically tricked them all into killing each other. You know, there's tricks that the same old people keep doing, and people just keep falling for it. By the way, did you know the Titanic sunk in 1912? The Federal Reserve started in 1913, and the First World War started in 1914, and none of those are coincidences. Did you also know the CIA was created in 1947, Israel was created in 1948, Mossad was created in 1949? Yeah, but Jeff, they're not all in on it. It's not like everyone's in on all this stuff. They're not all in the big club. You know, Bill Gates, he was just really smart. That's why he started Microsoft. It wasn't that his family was massively connected to the satanic death cult. You know, people like Jeff Bezos, how do you explain people like that? I don't know. Did you know Jeff Bezos' grandfather founded DARPA in the 1950s? Yes, Lawrence Preston Guise was the grandfather of Jeff Bezos, and at DARPA from 1958 to 61, working on space technology and ballistic missile defenses. Yeah, Jacqueline Bezos was born as Jacqueline Guise on December 29, 1946, to Lawrence Preston Guise, who worked at Sandia National Laboratories. She grew up in Bernalillo, New Mexico, and attended high school in Albuquerque. In high school, Jacqueline dated unicyclist Ted Jorgensen. She became pregnant in 1963 when Jorgensen was 18 and she was 16. Shortly before they got married in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, they had a second ceremony in the United States on July 19th of the same year. Jacqueline gave birth to Jeff Bezos on January 12, 1964, 2 weeks after her 17th birthday. They named the child Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen at birth. So even Jeff Bezos has changed his name. Lawrence Preston Guise, Jeff Bezos' grandfather, was indeed a key figure in founding DARPA in 1958. He helped establish the agency, which later pioneered the internet and other tech breakthroughs. The connection is real, but no evidence ties DARPA directly to Amazon's creation. Yet the timing and family ties raise eyebrows, says Grok. Yeah, just look at the logo, look at the name. Amazon Fulfillment. Amazon Fulfillment. A Mason Fulfillment. Turn it upside down, it's the Mason logo exactly. All in plain sight. Just a coincidence, Jeff. Yeah, sure, Jeff Bezos' dad basically founded DARPA, which is a super evil organization. Just a total coincidence, and now his logo is an upside down Freemason logo. And Mason is right in the name, Amazon, Mason. But people don't have eyes to see or ears to hear. They're under mind control. They've watched their entire lives propaganda. People have no idea about what's going on, and they'll never see this video. It's incredible. But some people see this video, and some people have some questions, like Alex Tanase. Jeff, explain this to me, please. Why are we making children when we see that the world is going to shit? It's a genuine question. I'm expecting a second child, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and asking, what the fuck am I thinking? That's a good question. For me personally, it all just happened completely organically. I consider it a gift from God, and I believe everything happens for a reason in this life, and it's totally true. And if you don't know that, you just haven't done enough work and connected enough to realize that, or open your eyes enough. This is all our own true man show, and for whatever reason, I'm supposed to have this child right now. And I have to tell you, we're only a little over 2 years in, and it's the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's beyond incredible. I can't even describe how incredible it is. Now, what's going to happen now? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they can totally destroy and kill everyone on Earth. I think they're going to kill most of them in the next couple of years, and then it'll just be quiet. And then, you know, we'll see Kill Gates every now and then. I'll go, nice job there, Kill. And he'll be like, yeah, you don't punch me. And I'll be like, I won't, but that was quite the genocide you did. You know, so then my kid will be like, you know, making fun of Kill Gates because he's just a loser and stuff. You know, it'll be a pretty decent life. Or they install a massive amount of this technocracy and it turns into like the Terminator. And in that case, I'm de-aging, so I'll be like ripped like Schwarzenegger. I mean, like, I'm getting ripped. I don't know if you can start to see. From the Tesla machine. And I'm de-aging. So when my son's like 16 or 18, he's going to be on the Tesla machine. He's going to be in the gym with me. We're going to be both looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. We'll have all kinds of weapons. We'll have all kinds of armies. We'll have like a fortified castle with 20-foot walls. And we'll be fighting the system. It'll be good times. And if you know, if the system takes us down and kills us, then we go back to God consciousness. So there's absolutely nothing to lose. So that's my answer. And I'd also just add, you know, if you're thinking of not having kids just because of all this stuff these guys are doing, you're going right into their trap. That's what they want. They want you to lose hope. They want you to not have kids and to basically kill you and your kids. But if you're smart, like I have been so far, you'll be fine. You can actually de-age. You could probably live hundreds of years if you want to. I don't know if I want to, but I think it's an option now. And yeah, so, you know, don't get caught up in all this stuff. There's actually, like, just think about it. Right now, is everything okay? And almost anyone who would answer this would say yes, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't be watching this video. Well, it's always right now, and it's almost always okay. Don't get caught in all this stuff. That's what they want you to do. They want you lost in social pressure, conformity, Hegelian dialectic, groupthink, Stockholm syndrome, brainwashing, logical fallacies, cognitive dissonance, indoctrination, propaganda. And there's me. Yet there's literally nothing to worry about. Now you might have a really bad time if you're not smart. You're gonna get poisoned, they might kill you, but even if they kill you, it's fine. You just go back to God consciousness, it's fine. You probably end up coming back here or something, because you have to actually reach enlightenment here before you can get out of this stage, which we've been trapped in, but that's a whole other story. But really, the whole thing is, don't get lost in all this stuff. Do the work on yourself. Have you gotten rid of all your traumas? I can guarantee you 99.99% of you haven't. And a bunch of you will say you have. You don't know because you haven't actually done the work and looked at it. They're in your subconscious. You can't even see a lot of them. They're actually blocked. Are you eating super well? Not poisoned food? Are you basically in near perfect physical condition? Are you in perfect mental condition? Can you focus and concentrate? All those sort of things. No? Well, you can work on those things. You can use a BrainTap. You can reprogram your mind with this thing. Not physically perfect? Get a Tesla machine. If you can't afford it, by the way, if you can't afford these things, I hear this all the time. First of all, if you write something like, Jeff, you're such a dick, I can't afford those things. First of all, if you have that attitude, that's why you can't afford those things. You create all your own problems. If you get angry at other people or jealous, if they have more than you, that's what's holding you back. You've got to work on that and get over that, and then things will start flowing to you. Maybe not the next day, but they'll start flowing to you once you get over all of your basically programs. You gotta deprogram yourself. But if you can't afford any of those things, you can do one thing that basically will get you 90% of the way there, and might even get you 100% of the way there. Meditate. But hardly anyone does it, and hardly anyone even knows how to do it. I was just on a show 2 days ago, I'll put it on screen, where we talked for an hour about all this stuff. So if you want to learn, go there. But you know what? You probably won't. You know why? Because you don't want to do the work. And so you just want to remain kind of like a victim. Well, if that's what you want to do that. But you don't have to be. Meditation's free, and that's all you need to do. And if you start meditating, you'll start to get over, deprogram yourself. You start to reprogram yourself. Then you can get anything you want. You manifest anything you want. And if you want a Tesla machine, you get one. It's not a problem. And then you can start to get to the higher levels and actually break out of this matrix, which is the whole goal of the video game, which I keep reminding you every single video, but no one hardly ever hears it. They're like, what's the next crypto pick? It's like, it doesn't matter. None of this is real. Although, to an extent, it does kind of matter in the matrix. And so if you want those things, subscribe to our newsletter, dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. Subscribe to the Crypto Vigilante. But Jeff, it's expensive. Things cost money. You know what money is? Energy. When people give you all their energy, they want some energy back. And if you actually don't do that, it all doesn't work. And you actually make things far worse for yourself by not participating in the transfer of energy. Anyway, the road to heaven feels like hell. The road to hell feels like heaven. That's pretty true. For years of me doing this work, it was hard. I wouldn't call it hell hard, but I'd call it the hardest thing I ever did. But once you get out of it and get out of the matrix, and all of a sudden everything turns to just incredible. Everything's amazing. But most people will take the road to hell because it feels like heaven. Oh, it's so easy, just drinking, doing stupid stuff. And before you know it, you basically are trapped in the matrix. And you have to keep coming back. But you don't have to. If you just wake up. That's all you gotta do, meditate, wake up. But most of you won't, but some of you will. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, I gotta go find apples. Viste apples? No? We gotta go find apples. I don't know what's going on around here. Oh, there you are, apples. What happened? Oh, sorry, yeah, I went over to the kitchen there. I got some food going on. Just, you know, I like to go check out the food. Sorry about that, I lost you. But if you want to go get some more food, I'm down for it. Oh, what's that? Homemade pizza with pepperoni? That sounds pretty good. Better hook Durango's up. He's pretty old. I'll take one too. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Let me finish this up. And then, like Lucy, I'm gonna try to give everyone crushers.
Some think he's a sentinel, others say he's a stooge. I think he's a criminal, and we should fit him for the prison blues. Well, he's been racking up the miles to the U.S. Virgin Isles, quite a badge of honor that has become. His latest thing is farming, try to stop the cows from farting, get your meat from a lab or eat some bugs. The guy's a pharmacist, a doctor, and a geoengineer who loves pumping chemicals into the sky. There's an evil little man behind the 4 eyes in a sweater, wants to make it so the sun don't shine. He's the greatest supervillain that the world has ever known. He wants to make it so the sun don't shine. He can help with family planning, be a teacher in a school. He wants to make it so the sun don't shine. The guy's a pharmacist, a doctor, and a geoengineer. He wants to make it so the sun don't shine. But there's an evil little man behind the 4 eyes in a sweater who wants to make it so the sun don't shine.